Hi. As the name of the video suggests, this video is going to be about eclipses, and like myself, if the concept of eclipse or grahan has intrigued you for a long time, and because you keep reading such stuff, intriguing stuff, and you are not able to make head or tails out of it because you don't have a composite picture, a comprehensive information about it, so you keep on wondering what's going on, what does eclipse mean exactly. So we'll start with from the physics point of view, because at the end of the day all these planets are also objects and the laws of physics apply to them, and then we are going to zoom in on these concepts from the astrological point of view, and by the time we do that, the spiritual aspect would come on its own. I don't know why dogs keep on barking. They just sit there and they bark. So there's going to be a lot of disturbance coming from outside in form of noise. But then, if the video has something interesting for you, you would not be distracted. I was, because I haven't quite launched myself into the actual bit. The meaty stuff hasn't come in by now. All right. Okay, so before I begin, I really want to talk about what you guys are watching these days. Are you watching just TikTok? Is India watching just TikTok? Or is it just watching videos that ignite your anger, or the chaos that talks about the chaos in the country? Because if you are watching all the videos that are dedicated to to how this chaos is being created, because it is being created, then too this video should make some sense to you, because because it does talk about it would touch upon that aspect as well. But whatever be the case, there has to be more views. Come on, guys. I mean, just stop watching woozy dopey videos all the time, and maybe some bit of information will do you good in the long term. So are we ready for the real deal? So this is how it goes. My signature stuff. I'm always making some kind of an illustration to make things clearer, if you care to understand. So this is Sun, the only star in our solar system, and this is Earth. So when moon comes in the middle, sometimes it doesn't happen all the time. There are so many new moon cycles. There are so many new moons happening in a year, but not all the time will it block sun like this. It's just that whenever you have new moons, the moon would rise at the same time as the sun and would set at the same time as sun. So it's basically hidden by the light, the sheer quantum of light, photons that sun throws in all direction. It's not visible because of this high level of photons that the sun releases in all direction. But at times it happens that it's because of some anomaly that moon would seem to block sun's light and would appear as a mole on sun, and that's what you know as the eclipses. And what happens during lunar eclipse? Lunar eclipse is relatively simple. You have your full moons. This is moon, and it is hardly visible. Okay, just let me darken it a little bit. Sorry. So this is your moon. In usual cases, what happens when you have your full moon? The sun would will throw its light on the moon, which is slightly at the same level as sun, and it would receive all the light that the sun has to give, and then will throw that light on. It would get fully lit. The one side of it would get fully lit, and this is how people on earth would see a luminous object hanging in the sky as a full moon, right? But what happens during eclipses? The shadow that the earth has would fall on moon. The shadow is known as the umbra region. It doesn't happen all the time because the moon is always somewhat at a higher let's say altitude. Okay, maybe it's somewhat higher, and the earth is somewhat lower. So if this is the angle, moon would get all the light from the sun, but during eclipses it moves a little downwards, and the umbra region, the shadow region, would fall. And the shadow region, it would enter the shadow region of the earth, and that's why it appears all shadowy during the lunar eclipse. Now, you know, from the astrological point of view, sun, your sun sign represents your personality. Your moon sign represents your emotional makeup. And how are they different? Moon sign is just the way you would behave on an emotional level, and sun sign would be a combination of your head and your emotion. What happens when you like to do something and your head tells not to do something, and you weigh things up, and then you decide according to what feels right at the end? Suppose you have your exam the next day, and there are friends who are sponsoring your visit to a club, a really cool club. Your head would say, don't go because you may fail in your exam the next day, or you may really lose out on your numbers or your score, so in the exam. So and which would have a much long-term impact on your life than foregoing going to club for just one night. So you end up saying no to your friends. So that's when your head has taken control. But there are certain issues when when the concept of cognitive dissonance takes place. Now, since I studied psychology during my graduation, there is a concept called cognitive dissonance. When you know on a rational level, you know that something is wrong, but you still end up doing it. So cognitively, you know, there is a learning in your gut that something is not to be done. You still end up doing that. Or when you know something is not to be done or to be done, and you still end up not doing it. So it's a vice versa. It's a conflict between what you want and what your head says no to. So as I was saying, the personality, the sun sign tells you the sun sign, if you're, let's say, you're a Virgo, your zodiac sign is Virgo, so your head is very meticulous, you are very practical, you are very clinical, and mostly you act on the facts you gather out of observation. You weigh things up, but the emotional aspect would be ruled by, let's say, if you're a Virgo and your moon sign is Pisces, so you would be as fluid, as mutable, as changeable emotionally, just like a Piscean would be. Pisces is a water sign. Water comes into the category of fluid, and fluid comes into the category of anything that flows, that does not stay at one position. Moreover, Pisces is a mutable sign. which means changeable sign. So your head, your personality, your head knows that certain things are to be dealt with more meticulously, more systematically, but emotionally you are very changeable. So it can be a very hard combination. Fine. Coming back to the eclipses part. So whenever there is an eclipse, see it as loss of light. When you are going on a road, on a path, and suddenly there is no light, your direction is bound to change a little bit. It may change a little or it may change a lot, but by the time the tunnel goes, you're through with the tunnel, you're on a different tangent. So a definitive change in course would be something that eclipses depict. When it's a solar eclipse, because we spend entire almost 80% of our waking hours in sun, so solar eclipses would mean a much bigger, definitive, certain change of your life course. Whereas when there is a lunar eclipse, and since moon controls your emotions, emotions means water, because they keep on changing, they're fluid, and moon affects water or any fluid, especially water. So when your moon sign, or whenever there is a lunar eclipse, your emotions would go some kind of a transformation. So let's just say that if you feel close to a person, you will feel a certain distance towards them. And when you feel distant to a person, you may feel close towards them. If you're a loner, you may become social. If you're social, you may become loner. If you're a social person, you may become a bigger socialite. And if you're a loner, you may become a bigger loner. You may just shut off. So a definitive transformation comes during eclipses. And now comes the real deal, if it has confused you for a while. So when the solar eclipse happens, and the background, and you know that the whole solar system has in the background the constellations that it faces all the time. So if we are here on Earth, and this is sun, and the sun as a background painting, we are looking at the sun, and the background is of Cancer. So we'll say there is a solar eclipse in the Cancer sign. Same goes for, same goes for lunar eclipse. Just like Earth revolves around sun, moon revolves around Earth, and it also faces these signs, these constellations, which we know as zodiac signs, all the time. So on 10th, starting from 10th night and continuing up till 11 in the morning of January 2020, we have an eclipse, a lunar eclipse, in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so what happens now is you gotta think in terms of your horoscope, your own horoscope, as well as whoever horoscope you are talking about. Where is Cancer in a particular horoscope? So I'm talking about the Indian Vedic style of, you may see it all inverted because of the mirror effect. All right, so usually what happens, this is how it goes. This is your personality. This is where the first house is, the second house is. In Western astrology, the the horoscopes are circular, they are made slightly differently, but I'm just talking about the Indian way of making a horoscope, because that's what I'm more familiar with. So this is the first house, and it may be ruled by any sign. It may be ruled by any sign depending on the month that you were born, when we are talking about the sun sign, or at the time of your birth, which constellation was moon facing would tell about your moon sign. Okay, so this is how it goes. This is the first house, this is the second house, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and it continues, and each house depicts something. This is your personality. This is your, let's divide it into half. This is your very personal space. This is your personality when you're facing the world. Okay, so this is your personality, this is your family, this is your communication when you are talking to your people, your own people, your folks, your personal the personal style of communication, as well as your own bit of learning that you are learning through the way of, and this is your comfort, or the house of your mom, because mom is the only person we are most comfortable with, and there is no pretense. Then this is your creativity slash children, because children are your creation, slash your love life, or this is your enemies slash diseases. This is your long-term partnership. This is your long-term partnership plus carnal stuff, plus death, whatever slash death, etc. This is now 9 and 3. This is now that we've entered into the zone of our public life. Okay, so this is all this that I just spoke. 9th is the long-term communication, how you communicate with the world slash long-term learning. This is your career, this is your long-term friends. This is the house of shadow, which is something that you want to hide from the world, that those secrets that you don't want to bring forth. Okay, now talking in terms of country, since the lunar eclipse that is happening on 10th going up to the 11th January is when the moon would face the constellation of Cancer, and all those countries that have Cancer in its first house, their personalities ruled by Cancer would be affected, right? So we know that US is going through its own set of chaos. It's going through some bit of upheaval. We know all about it. Okay, so and US has its zodiac sign as Cancer. So once this lunar eclipse happens, there's going to be some change in the collective emotions of people that comprise US. We Indians we are Leo. We have Leo as our sun sign, and we have Cancer as our moon sign. So emotionally we are going through a chaos, because that's what lunar eclipse is, and this course is going to change to a certain extent after the eclipse happens. Either there's going to be a cool down, or there's going to be some definite illumination on emotional front. And since I told you that we have from the sun sign point of view, we have Cancer, our Cancer's the 12th house is ruled by Cancer, which is a house of shadow, something that we wanted to hide for a long time. That's coming forth. So all those things that people did not want to talk about are coming forth now. They're coming into light. They wanted to keep it under wraps because that was a convenient way to. So there's a lot of hurt that communities feel against each other. That the hurt that they feel that the other community has caused them. So it's good that they're talking about it. And after this eclipse, there's going to be some change in course, because there would be a tunnel tunnel, see tunnels as eclipses. So when you come out of that tunnel, there's going to be some change in the emotions. So there's going to be some change, but then there would continue to be spurts and bouts of anger until 21st of June, when solar eclipse happens, because solar eclipse in any case is life changing in varying degrees. Sun is much more powerful in shaping our personality than the moon. So on 21st, when the sun enters Cancer, there's going to be a solar eclipse, and that's when this whole chaos, conflict is going to wrap up. That's my take on things. There might be different. I just do not know whether things are making sense, but I just hope they're making sense, because I have tried to make it as simple as possible. Just see which house is ruled by Cancer sign in your own horoscope. If you don't know, there are multiple sites these days. You can just find out. So for example, your second house is ruled by Cancer. So on 10, and the second house is your family / money / everything that you see once you're born. What does a child see once he's born? He sees his family / what kind of a financial or material situation of the houses. He doesn't register it as finance or monetary condition, but then he sees whether he can feel it, whether it is an abundant house or it is a deprived house, whatever. So this is the house of wealth, family, and if your second house is ruled by Cancer, I just got distracted. So there would be some definitive change in the way you feel about these aspects of life, that is money and family. This was just an example. Another example, if the seventh house is ruled by the Cancer sign, then your emotion towards a long-term partnership would go through some kind of a change. We'll visit this topic in some other way until it gets completely clear. I really hope it made sense this time, or to some extent it made some sense. Okay, come off now. There has to be more views. Okay, all right, thanks, bye.